I'm a big fan of Nickelodeon. I loved SpongeBob as a kid. It's sad to hear that Steven Hillenburg passed away a few years ago. I was actually crying non-stop every day since the day when I found out he passed away. He was my childhood. So in honor of him, I bought every SpongeBob DVD from seasons 1 to 10. A few weeks later, while I was out for a walk, I found a man in front of the street where I live who was selling a Lost SpongeBob episode DVD. I told him, "How much is it?" He said, "It's free." So I bought it and turned on my DVD player. The first thing I saw was the usual Nickelodeon fish floating around. I was really back in memory lane. But then I noticed something. The usual fish's eyes were bloodshot, and the fish itself was red. Well, I didn't really care about it, so I kept watching. The main menu was just a sketch out of PNG of SpongeBob with a title card, sponge_lost.mp4. I clicked on it. The first thing I saw was the intro. I was glad to see my childhood, until the title card came up. The background was just dark, and there was a pentagram in the back of the wall. The title of the episode was called Lies. I had a mysterious feeling about the episode. During the title card sequence, a creepy backwards music box was playing. First thing that showed up was SpongeBob eating some kelpo next to Gary. It looked like a normal episode so far. "Well, Gary, I'm heading to work. See you later, Gare Bear." After SpongeBob left the house, he saw a fish hanging from a tree, and it zoomed in on its detailed face. There was blood coming out of his eyes, and his skin was decomposing with flies all around him. I was really scared at this point, so SpongeBob screamed and ran as fast as he could to the Krusty Krab. When he walked in, there were people who were waiting in line for Krabby Patties. Then all you can hear is Mr. Krabs yell out loud, "SpongeBob!" The only thing off was that it wasn't the original voice actor. "These customers are in a frenzy here. You must make those Krabby Patties immediately!" SpongeBob ran into the kitchen without saying a word. He started making Krabby Patties. Then it was just a loop of him flipping Krabby Patties. And this is where the whole episode just goes downhill. As the loop of SpongeBob flipping Krabby Patties kept on going, a metal door shaking could be heard out of nowhere. Later on, screams of innocence could be heard. It sounded like a torture room. I started to shake. Then SpongeBob started melting until his rib cage started showing. The room got darker, and the screams started to get louder. The full kitchen was set on fire, and eventually, the audio stopped. SpongeBob stared at the viewer and said, "People think I'm a good person." Lies. Lies.
Lies.
Then everything came back to normal. He called Mr. Krabs. When he came, he was confused. SpongeBob already knew how to make Krabby Patties, but then the craziest thing happened. SpongeBob grabbed Mr. Krabs' head and smacked it onto the stove that was already heated. He kept smashing his head onto the stove until the only thing that was left are blood and pieces of Mr. Krabs' head. SpongeBob started laughing with blood all over his face. He went to Squidward. Squidward told him to bug off. SpongeBob said in a demonic voice,
"You will face the wrath of SpongeBob. Prepare to die."
He grabbed Squidward's chest and ripped it open. He ripped out his heart, and soon enough, Squidward fell onto the floor, dead. While SpongeBob was looking at the beating heart, it showed a close-up of the heart. And it wasn't your normal cartoon heart. It was a real heart that looked photorealistic. I didn't have a bucket with me, so instead I threw up on the floor. As I kept watching, SpongeBob entered the gym. He saw Larry and gave him a protein milkshake. As Larry drank it, he started throwing up blood. But it wasn't your normal cartoon blood. As he fell on the floor, he was completely white, and a pool of blood was right next to him. SpongeBob was laughing evilly as he showed the viewer he had put some cyanide pills inside the shake. Next, he went to Sandy's street home. Sandy was working on a brand new invention that looked like a wood chipper. SpongeBob then picked up a rock and threw it into the glass. The tree dome cracked a little until it broke. Sandy then died because of the rock that SpongeBob threw her window. And when SpongeBob saw her floating dead body, he then said,
I just need one more kill.
Then it cut to SpongeBob circling Patrick's house with a bat full of nails. Patrick was scared and was biting at his fingers, even though he didn't have nails or fingers. SpongeBob opened the rock. Patrick screamed as it cut to pitch black. Then it said some weird language. I didn't know what it meant, so I used Google to translate on my phone. It was Japanese. That meant, you are next. The scene then cut to SpongeBob's house. It showed the inside of the house, which was all dirty and trashed. There was also a pentagram on the wall. It was the same thing in the title card. The next room had Gary in it, dead, with his shell broken and eyes slit. The next room showed a bunch of dead bodies of the fish kids. SpongeBob was laying in bed with a knife in one hand and a sad face covered in blood. He said, "Why, Bikini Bottom? Why?" He sighed and said, "I guess this might be the only way out." SpongeBob slit his wrist and wrote lies on it. He died shortly. The episode ended. I ended up having nausea and suicidal thoughts, but luckily I found a therapist to help me out. I still like SpongeBob, but I'll never look at him the same way ever again.